Hey everybody, hey, today's kind of a cool opportunity for us to peek behind the curtain with a brand new editing software, or really more like an editing tool. Narrative Select and Edit and myself and a whole bunch of friends have been working for months and months at this point to make sure that this software is not only like the most advanced tech-wise AI editing option on the market, but also that you guys have the opportunity to come alongside some, hopefully, of your favorite photographers and just photographers that you know, and see the way that that your work and the art that you're creating through your cameras could possibly look through our eyes. And that's a really cool process. I'm going to talk through that a little bit more during this video. But first, I'm going to click you guys over into Narrative Select and Edit, let you get kind of a behind the scenes, a sneak peek of what this is all going to feel like and look like for you guys as early users of this new software. So if you're looking at my screen right now, you'll see the screen of Narrative Select and Edit. It looks very similar. Those of you guys that have used Select for quite a while, it looks very similar to the way it has always used or kind of worked. We're going to select a folder. I'm actually just going to pick a shoot that I've edited a handful of times in the past. And the reason I'm doing that is because not only do I know it really well, but it was a really cool engagement session that we did with really interesting and dynamic light. And it allows for a really broad range of shots. So as soon as I select that, you'll see on here, it already says 980 photos were imported. And it is going through right now and just cataloging them. I'm going to give you like a super quick tour of Narrative Select so that you guys can all be kind of on the same playing field with me. Keep in mind that even though I have used Select for quite a while and partnered alongside Narrative really since the sort of like earliest days of this program, I definitely wouldn't consider myself like an expert. To be totally honest with you, I don't even really know how a lot of this stuff works. I just know that it works. And what is pretty cool is that we're going to fast forward here in a few moments. You guys will be able to actually click back into Lightroom and see these files fully edited. So if you're a little impatient like I am sometimes in YouTube, you may actually go ahead and just sort of like skip to that chapter. But for now, I'm going to give you sort of a tour of the way Select works, just so we're all on the same playing field. Again, as I scroll through the images, you're going to see these are completely unculled. This is the entire shoot. And so we had shots in front of green with like direct light. We had some covered shade. We had some wild, bright, direct sun that before golden hour really kicked in. Again, some kind of covered shade here right at sort of the last pops of natural light for the day. And then we were down on the waterline again, right as the sun sort of crested. So like perfect golden hour shots. And then even some blue hour stuff at the end. So as you can see, the reason I picked this shoot is because not only are these two amazing humans, wonderful, and I just dear to my heart, but the ability for Narrative to go through and help me cull really quickly is something that's very important to me. And just a really cool process. But also, I want you to see as we take these over into Edit, how at an engagement shoot, a natural light engagement shoot like this, utilizing our style that we have created for or alongside Narrative, can really sort of read the different lighting scenarios and edit really consistently for you, or at least give you a really great place to start. So, hey, we're going to start, like I mentioned, with a tour, okay? So right now we're in a grid view. This is very familiar for everybody that's used anything like Lightroom or Bridge or Capture One or anything like that, right? So I'm actually going to switch us over into this scenes view. This is something that's really special. So scenes view goes through and it selects all of the photos in a scene. You'll actually see here there's 37 photos in this scene. And it's ordered reverse chronologically, assuming, of course, that like maybe the last photo was the winner, right? Now, that's not always the case with me. A lot of times I just kind of keep shooting, but it's a great way to kind of peek through things. So as we go through here, you'll notice that instead of having 980 photos to look at, I have 146 scenes. Now that allows me to move so much faster in my culling process, and it's really helpful. But I'm going to even cut it down more than that. If you look over here into the different sort of filters and funnels that we have set up, I can filter by lenses. I can actually filter. This is just sort of a really neat concept. I can filter by image scores or focus scores. And so Narrative, the AI software, is kind of running through and scoring each image to see like how well I did at catching focus. Now, not all that surprising to me. I don't even have a single photo in here that is considered a focus 10. I'm almost rarely all that focused on like having perfectly sharp images. I would much rather our work feel very kind of movement oriented. And so often, sort of on purpose, I'm shooting at slightly slower shutter speeds. But instead of going into there, what I'm going to do is look at this, right? Okay, so I have these 509 are potential picks. It feels like images that are really worth looking at. 260 unlikely picks, and then 211 undesirables. Now, you can trust that or not trust that. I will tell you, I have used Narrative Select for so long, I really do trust it. And so I'm going to just cut down right down to the 509 that it says are good. That actually cut me down in scenes quite a bit already, which is really nice. And then you noticed over here, I actually activated this 100% view over here. So now every time I go to an image, it's going to show me the close-up file of that image of each face, right? So I can see what's in focus and what's not in focus. Okay, so there's sort of a general tour for you guys. Now here's what I'm gonna do is I'm actually going to try and move really quickly through these and just select a few images from each sort of lighting situation so that we can edit them together, all right? So I've got just the blues selected. I'm gonna go back to grid mode so I can move really quick here and just grab a few favorite files. Now, again, admittedly, I know this shoot really well, and so I'm gonna grab a few kind of like favorite files. But the idea, again, is for me to select shots that have really dynamic, really unique uses of light to each other. So not necessarily just like bangers, but ones that feel a little different than some of the others, okay? Again, the idea there at the end is for us to look at the consistency of edit and just sort of see how the AI is trained to work with different light to give kind of a really consistent look sort of at the end. So I've grabbed a handful. If you're ever curious about how many I've got, or as you're starring, you can see up here, I've got 4 images right now flagged as a 1 star, which is all I'm really worried about right now. Is I'm just going to kind of select images that I feel like sit in that 1 star setting. And again, with a sort of an intentional attention paid to a variety of different lighting situations and uses of light. Let's see, as we kind of go through, I'm going to kind of touch really briefly on a few of the processes while I just talk and go through this that we had to go through to really prep these styles for edit. So first things first, thousands of images, literally thousands of images across so many different catalogs were utilized to build the style. We sent over so many photos that were edited for Narrative to start processing these files. And they trained into their AI system essentially what decisions I'm making, not only as an artist in camera, but then in post around those files. And so this isn't the same thing as a preset laid on a photo, right? In theory, now we sell presets as well, and we love our presets. G Presets and Greg Peterson did such an incredible job on the Abide pack. So if you're really wanting to just get into an opportunity where you can lay a preset on and then create your own editing decisions later, that's great, actually. That's still a really valuable and really viable way to edit. The way that Narrative Edit is working is making a lot more decisions for you than just laying a preset onto or into the color science of your file. It's actually looking at every decision that was made during the capture of that file, whether or not people are looking at the camera, whether or not the sun is behind them or in front of them, whether or not you're using a specific lens, or if there is things like lens flare. All of those things, as well as a million other decisions such as light and color and vignette, time of day, the grain, the ISO, and actual specific shooting situations that you were in, even the optics that were used, and whether you used flash or off-camera flash. All of those things are being taken into account. And then there is, because we've run so many thousands of files through this system, there is just this smart process that looks at each individual image and says, essentially, if Miles were to edit these files, here's what he would do to them. Now, that's a pretty flattering way to look at this whole thing. And believe me, though I'm sincerely flattered, what I think is probably more important is to understand that over a period of time, what working with a system like Narrative Select allows you to do is really see sort of the magic that is likely hiding inside your files that maybe you didn't even know was there. And so our starting point always is just to suggest to people that of course, first you shoot in RAW. Give your camera as much opportunity as it can to capture great depth of color and a great amount of dynamic range. Secondly, that you shoot for as close to an edited finished file as you possibly can. Now, this is kind of a unique thing to the way, hold on, I've got to stop here and review narrative edit. This is so funny. I love it. Okay. What I was saying was, you'll notice as we shoot, I'm shooting for as close to a finished look as I possibly can. Now, I know there are so many suggestions out there about shooting under or shooting over, or not paying attention to white balance or whatever. The reality is I've selected 33 images here from this session that are in a number of different, let's grab one more from up here, a number of different lighting situations and scenarios. And all of them are files that I wouldn't be afraid for my clients to see straight out of camera. I'm being very cognizant of the way white balance looks, of the way exposure looks. I am composing intentionally. Now, that's not to say that we're not going to do some cropping later, or that we can't always sort of refine and adjust a great look. But there is something really special about doing it right in camera. I'm just a huge proponent of that. Okay, hey, real quick, before we ship over there, I'm gonna unselect these potential picks, and now I'm gonna show you these undesirable picks, because I want you to see what it is that it's looking at that it's saying is undesirable. Most of these are files that are just so far out of focus, or we've got eyes closed. There's something really just flawed in the file itself. And narrative is just saying like, yeah, that's probably not the one. Now, here's an interesting scenario though. I knew this was going to happen. Every once in a while, there are files in here like this and this that I love. I absolutely love. And that an AI software like Narrative is just not going to snag. And so it's always just good advice to make sure that you go through and just peek briefly. You don't have to spend a ton of time on this, but just peek briefly and make sure that the way that the AI software is reading your images and the way that you're reading the images line up, okay? All right, so here we go. We're going to click back out. We've got 38 images from all kinds of different lighting situations flagged, and I love them all. I'm going to say 37. 37. Okay, here we go. All right, so now we're going to select all. And I'm going to go up here to where it says ship. Now, this is where things look a little bit differently for my computer than they will yours, because I'm still working in a beta process here where we're literally training and updating these styles as we speak. And so mine look a little different, but I'm going to create a new catalog here. And I'm going to name it, let's name it Emma.Miles. And I'm going to place it right in that same location. And then I'm going to select my profile. Now, this will look very different, on your screen, based simply on the fact that I have a sort of a behind the scenes, like a development version of this software. But that being said, the rest of this is all the exact same. And you'll notice that right now it's going through these 35 images and it says it's styling them. Now, this is the single biggest tweak between Narrative and a lot of the competitors on the market. Most of the competitors, the way that this works is you go into, say, Lightroom and you cull your own work, and then you push from there into the other software, and it applies the edit for you, and then you have to export that back into Lightroom to make revisions. And then you have to export that back into the software system to update your AI profile. Okay, that's not really that many steps, but this was one step. And because of that, it allowed me to edit these files, to cull these files right inside Narrative Select, export them already edited into Lightroom. And so you're literally seeing files import right here. And what you're going to notice as they import is that they will start to render and edit right upon import. Now, this is a really cool process because what it means is happening is that the files are getting their own XMP, like a sidecar file. And the moment that I tweak and adjust that to make it a little bit more the way I want each particular file to look, the more Narrative Select and Edit is going to learn my style and my preferences. And that all happens in the export. So I can tweak and edit any way that I want from these original files. And Narrative Select and Edit is just going to get smarter as that process happens. So whether or not you're the type of photographer that wants to have sort of a one-stop shop edit, you just want to jump in there, cull, and export it and say it's ready, or you want to be a little bit more like me and use Narrative Select and Edit to help you cull and really apply a base look to your file to where then you can go in and manually crop and maybe adjust things here or there, regardless of which side of that camp you're in. This is a really easy and just a super cool process for you. So you're looking here at 37 images. They have all imported now and they're all edited. Okay. So let's go through them really quick and just sort of look at sort of the way that that our particular style, it's called Iconic by Miles Wood Boyer, that the iconic color adjusted from the original file. Okay, so the easiest way to do that is to take you into the develop mode. I'm going to actually sort of hide this over here. Not that I'm not extremely proud of our presets, but you don't need them right now for us to see all of this. So what you're looking at over here is the actual edit and what happened to it. All of these decisions actually made by the AI protocol, right? Now, what's going to happen here as I reset this is you're going to see the original file, okay? So that's the file straight out of camera, and then that's the edit that was applied via Narrative Select and Edit. So let's just go through together and sort of take a peek at a handful of these shots. Now, again, probably not the best culling job there. That's not my favorite photo, but really I do love the color in it. All right, so again, maybe I culled too quickly. I do love this though, just pretty. So again, here's what I would do is now that I'm in here, I actually might warm this image up just a little bit. And so I'm using a loop deck live to do that. But we can do that right on here so you can actually sort of see me do it. And there, I think that's like a perfect edit. It's just nice and quick and easy. Again, let's just sort of keep going, okay? Now, this is a beautiful one for us to stop on for a hot second because I want to show you what the original file looked like, okay? So that is the original file, again, properly exposed, and even composed the way that I probably will leave it. And then this is the edit that Narrative Select and Edit laid on via the Iconic Style by Miles Wood Boyer. You guys, there's nothing that I would change, nothing I would adjust. I absolutely love it as is. So in these covered light situations, again, just muted and moody and beautiful, cinematic. The whole idea here is for us to apply a color concept that feels like it was torn out of your favorite movie. All right. Now let's jump back over into the sun and see how Select and Edit applied the same kind of color concept when we're in this sort of direct, more harsh light look. Now this is one of my favorite shots from this shoot. But as I reset it, you'll notice that obviously it's a little underexposed. I just love the shape. I love the frame of these two and just the movement in the shot. So I would have made the decision, clearly, because this whole thing is based on our editing decisions, I would have made the decision to not raise the values. I like the way that they look like they're in shape. But that being said, there's still so much latitude in here in the file that if you decided that you wanted to adjust that and bring it forward, there's plenty of opportunity for that. I'm just going to keep it as is because I love it. Hey, here's that file that we said was imperfect. It's out of focus and it's flawed, and Narrative Select did not like it. And you know what? I'm really glad that we included it in here. Again, another one of the shots that they just were not loving right out of camera, and we're going to take a look at how all of these shots sort of pop in and render. It's so odd that this one is not rendering, and I don't know why that is. But it's YouTube, and so you guys, there's kind of always a reason, right? Okay, last couple here. Let's look at them. So these are the blue hour shots. And you'll notice the way Narrative Select just sort of brought in a little bit of life. Nothing too crazy, nothing too much. So that's really it, you guys. That was an entire shoot, culled and edited. Now, again, I culled them very quickly, but culled and edited in a matter of minutes. And the color is consistent all the way across the board. The tonality is consistent all the way across the board. The decisions are being made as though somebody is actually making them. And the reason for that is because we spent months making those decisions so that you wouldn't have to. Hey, I hope this has been really helpful. So this was a natural light engagement shoot. We're gonna be doing a series of these videos via actual weddings, some studio shots, headshots, things with off-camera flash, just different lighting scenarios and ways that we utilize Narrative Select and Edit to really push out our best work quickly. My advice for you, of course, would be first that you try Narrative Select and Edit. Obviously, I'm a major proponent of the software system. More than that, I'm just a huge believer in how much time it has saved me so that I can invest that time back in my clients and back into my creativity. Secondly, I would suggest that you never take the burden of editing completely off of your shoulders. There's something really special about being an artist and the way that these finished files are touched by you. So jump in there. Please utilize the iconic color by Miles Wood Boyer style. It would mean a lot to us to have the opportunity to see the way your files look through our eyes. That's just a special opportunity for us. But then continue to manipulate and tweak and twist them until it's your iconic style. Hey, my name is Miles Wood Boyer. I'm coming to you from my little office here in Bentonville, Arkansas. It's been an absolute pleasure to walk you through this. I hope you've enjoyed it. Again soon.